everyone, and welcome to the Scratticus Academy. We are back with some more Doors of Dunera today, which I am super excited to get back into. Before we head round and say hello to all these lovely faces you see here, please check out all the links coming up in chat now. That includes the Discord, as well as the Scratch change my music. I'm trying to find it. That includes the Discord, where we have a channel just for Doors of Dunera, and we would love to hear what you think. If you'd like to get into a game, head over to Twitter and drop Scrat a DM, and we will get you in one. If you've missed out on anything, you can head over to YouTube. All of the seasons of Doors of Dunera are in playlists, so they're easy for you to catch up and have a look. Also, please check out our wonderful sponsors who we couldn't do this without. We've got the wonderful Mayhem Press. You can check out their Fate Folio over on Wednesdays. That is a viewer game, so if you want to come and try it out, go and drop Scrat that DM. They've also created Dark Matter, which you can now buy in hardback. It is basically D&D in space, and everyone needs that in their life. Also, we had the Deck of Many, with the Deck of Many Things and the Moving Magic Spell cards, words today, which was donated for everyone to have last week, which did affect the story quite dramatically. That poor village. Also, check out the Kickstarter that is coming up in May. They have got so many exciting things coming, including more moving cards, but this time they are tarot cards. And I've seen the art for it. It's some really snazzy stuff coming. Also, we've got Hero Forge with the 3D printed colored minis, which you can see there. Scrat and I now do a show on Wednesdays at 2 p.m. EDT, if you want to come check it out, where we drink a lot of coffee and we build minis and we use their new color beta system. And I think, if I'm right in thinking, they're releasing something brand new to beta tomorrow. So that will be there on Wednesday. We'll have to check that out. Also, last but certainly not least, also Dungeon Fog, for whether it's a campaign or a one-shot. It takes care of all of your map making needs. If you update something on the map, it immediately updates it in your notes for you. So all your information can stay together in one place. Also, please check out the content warning that is going to be coming up in chat now. Otherwise, let's head around and say hello to all of these lovely people, and we will start with the lovely Jagon's Gold. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I am Jay, or Jagon's Gold. I play Paula Packer, our dancer librarian, who is so excited right now because she found a cell phone with 17% battery in this burned village, and hopefully she can use it with her friends to make a call to someone that can help them, guide them, give them some information. I don't know, we'll see, but yeah, very excited for tonight. Also, ominous title, just saying.
Wonderful, thank you. Then we're gonna hop down and say hello to the lovely Tool School. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi, how are you doing? I am very excited to be back again in the world of Dunera. We Averick is finding himself in both a mental and physical way as he is adapting to the magics that he has inherited through Toland's magic, who he was apprenticed to, and who saved him long ago from having his Inakwe severed from him. He has just sort of been reminiscing about Karnan in this burnt out sort of coffee shop of this little town that they have come across, but now has made his way back to where this blacksmith's forge is, and might be helping out his friend Florence with making something out of this big giant shard of giant rock. It's not just a giant rock, it's giant rock.
Giant, yeah. God, I did that to myself. Wonderful, thank you. Then we're going to hop over and say hello to the lovely Mal. Oh, hi.
Oh, hi. I never know what to do when it gets to me. I feel like I need to figure out exactly who Reese is so I can say something cool, like how Jay's all, Paul is our dancer librarian. Anyway, Reese is a big guy, and he's got a wolf, and things are cool. And last time we saw a comet that reminded him of the day he got his wolf, so that's cool.
I love it. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, the lovely Sarah. Oh, hi.
Hey, there's no place I would rather be, so I'm so excited to be back with all these people, with all of you, and back in Dunera. I play Florence Fetlock, a courier who delivers messages from other sides of the Vale to the one that her and her friends currently reside on. We recently learned that this village that was unfortunately harmed pretty gravely has a bunch of spirits still lingering, but they seem happy to be here, and it seems like they're going to stay for as long as they want to. And Florence does have that big kind of slate obsidian style rock that's been strapped to her back for a few episodes, and is excited to maybe start turning it into something.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're going to pick up where we left off last week. And Reese, you stand there, this, in the dead of night, this cold wind sort of whipping about you. You can feel your heavy coat sort of flapping in the breeze as you look to the 4 moons that shine very brightly as that falling star shoots across the sky. And Astrid stands at the center of this desolate village as she throws her head back and just howls. You can see her breath start to, as it breaks into the air, it fogs. And as she stops for a moment after, and it is a long howl, it feels almost desperate in a way. And you haven't heard her like that in a very long time. But as she stops and looks back towards you, she pauses and then looks back out onto the ice wastes, where you can see the huge mountainside to your right, the cliffs to your left, and the Bridge of Thara further on. And as she pads slowly back towards you, she pauses as somewhere else a wolf howls back.
Do I recognize that other wolf?
It's been a long time, but I don't think you forget it. It sounds a lot deeper. It's much deeper than her howl. It's almost like it's singing back to her, how some birds do. And it lingers just for a moment, but then it stops and does not howl again.
Are you eager to see them?
She sort of turns and looks to you, and you can see that the moons here, as much as normally it's a silver glow, which you saw when you were last in Karnan, it kind of gives off a bit of a... You're not sure if it's because of her fur or if it's because of the moon itself. It's a very amber color as she looks to you, and her eyes are sad. But not in a sort of a panic kind of way, but you can almost feel an emotion coming off of her.
Well, hopefully we'll catch up soon. Should we go back to the others. And he'll, scratch at her.
And she sort of just lets you, but you notice it's like her mind is somewhere else. But she does pad after you and follow you back to the blacksmith's. And before you arrive, as you're very, very close, you can probably hear a lot of chatting going on. But back at this blacksmith's, Aiden is resting. He's under lots and lots of whatever layers that Rika could find. And Tuva is sat there. She's shivering a little bit as they start to get the fire going. A dragon sort of stuffed into the front of her jacket, as you can see it shivering a tiny bit too. And Rika, while she gets this fire started, you can see her striking a flint with her knife. And Paula, what are you doing as you came back with the phone?
Yeah, no, Paula is breaking out a sweat. She is running on back to the group, shouting for Reese and Averick and for everyone to gather around. Reese, Averick! And then Florence is behind her. She's like waving her on, I've got a phone! I've got a phone!
How did you find a phone?
I looked for one and there it was. But it only has 17% battery. So...
does it have service?
Well, I'm assuming if someone had a phone up here, then it probably had service.
Sure.
I mean, we should use it. We should call someone who can help us, someone who would know what's going on. But I don't really know who that might be. I mean, I don't know a lot of phone numbers off the top of my head. If I'm being completely honest, I could think of the academy, but I know my mom's phone number, but I don't know if she's gonna be so helpful. If you think you know someone, or you, Reese, or Florence, or even you, Tuva.
She sort of looks up as she's sat by the fire with this dragon and Rika right next to her.
I mean, that journal showed someone I know with a lot of people, some of you know. I feel like if any of us knows Aggie's number, we should call her.
I mean, I set up Aggie's phone. I know her number.
You really, Averick?
I mean, she didn't know how to set it up, and yeah.
Well, that would be awesome. I mean, if anyone knows how to get out of this, it would be Aggie. Or at the very least, she'd probably be able to give us some guidance on maybe what's going on back home or in Villadris right now.
Yeah. I mean,
if you know the number, here, take it.
Oh God, are you gonna make me call? I don't want to call. You call.
You're there with 17% people.
Yeah.
I mean, if the battery's that dead, we probably want to know what we're gonna ask.
Yeah, because it'll go down fast. If this is, I mean, well, we found her journal. We're on the way to the bridge.
Well, it was Tom's journal.
We found Tom's journal.
Tom's
Right,
journal.
Aggie's picture was in it.
Right.
Oh, okay. Tolan knows something, but Averick doesn't. Oh, man. Okay, so player moment here. Just for a quick player moment. Tolan knows that Tom didn't share anything he was doing up here with Aggie. But so I think asking about the journal is gonna be like, it's like a wasted question on one of those like speak with dead. So
you do know though that Aggie's been here before.
Right. So she's been here. So yeah, because she was in the picture. And
She's
the
been
picture was
here.
here in the north.
Mhm.
Okay. It wasn't just a picture of them somewhere. It wasn't like a picture of them in Carnage.
Well,
It was a picture
I
of them in
think
the north.
she told Tolan that she'd been to the Ice Coast with Tom when it was
Okay.
the three of them, and then he returned another time.
Okay. That's right. And they were very young. Okay. So we could ask about that. I mean, we know that they were using the journal. I mean, the seers were using the journal to excavate that site where there's a giant and a dragon were underground. What do we want to ask? Seriously, what do we want to ask?
What?
Oh yeah.
Come
Well,
get
I
us.
mean-
Like, take me home.
Well, I definitely want to know if anything's changed in Carnan or Valadris. That seems important.
So I've got, other than the fact I don't know if we know her number, do we? I mean, I'm thinking a high up person in Valadris could send an airship for us. Do we call Nicole Kidman?
Well, the airship crashed.
There's got to be more. I mean, were all the airships in Valadris in the fleet? I mean, it could be. I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure if Averick would know that, but
She was on our airship.
well, I know. But if she, if she's alive,
I mean, as much as I want to know what's going on in the world as well, it feels like learning more about what Gideon's been up to, destroying that door, is pertinent to what's going on. Also, maybe we should tell Aggie that we're alive so she can tell the people in Carnan. Assuming word's gotten back.
Also, I will say at the moment in chat are the 4 options for everyone to receive something, and 2 of them are the same, so it'll be really interesting on either person which one it will be. So
oh wow, okay.
Well, those are some interesting
That
choices.
is interesting.
So,
Florence is kind of scratching her head and listening, and then she takes a step forward. What if we just told her where we are and what we're doing and what we're wrapped up in, and ask her to share anything she knows that might help, because now is the time for that. I've gotten to have a few just really lovely and kind of exciting conversations with Aggie where she talks about past adventures, but always in a veiled way, like she's having to protect someone, or, it wasn't me, but I've heard of someone doing this before. But I think now's the time where we can drop all pretense.
yeah, we're in the middle of it, and she was in the middle of this once before, with your dad and with Tom, and I mean, Uncle Ricky has got to have, he's got some contacts. I mean, you were saying that he's like a part of a seeker group still, Paula?
Yeah, no, there's I don't know how many of them there are, but they definitely still have a secret base in the academy, and there's still seekers out there, although I'm not sure that they're active at the minute.
So yeah, we just call her and tell her what's happened.
And I think if we tell her we don't have a lot of time, and I think I trust her to know what to tell us to help the most.
Well, and I can put it on speaker so we can all hear what's happening. See what she says if we think of anything while we're talking.
That sounds like a plan. She's got to know something. She's got to. If they're using Tom's diary. I can't think of anyone better to call.
Okay.
Here's the phone.
Averick gets it and probably looks at it, looks at that 17% in a frightening way, if it's even still 17. And
it's probably about 14 now.
Okay.
But I will say it also looks like you will get signal, because when you actually look over this phone, Averick, someone like you has modified this. There's a reason it works up here.
Gotcha. Yeah, there's an artifact transmitter in here. That's how it's working. Okay, here we go. He dials in Aggie's number and bring.
It rings a few times.
Aggie, pick up.
And as you do, it's like that ring and that ring.
It's like a percent goes down with every ring.
It's the dead of night right now. And you hear it ring a few times before you hear that flick of a button as it turns on, almost like a Scrabble, as if maybe just got up and you hear like a scruffle around. You say, "Hello, and do you know what time it is?"
Aggie, we don't have much time. It's Averick, Paula, Reese, and
what?
Florence. We're alive. We're on our way to the bridge. We found Tom's journal.
What?
The seers are up here.
Averick, darling, just slow down. Just wonderful to hear you're all alive. Congratulations. You can actually hear almost like a really heavy sigh that goes through her, as if she doesn't want to show she was worried, but she's like, "Bridge? What bridge? You went down on an airship. What does this even mean?"
We're in the north. The bridge between the ice coast. The bridge where you and Tom.
Averick, what on earth are you doing up there?
We don't know how we got here, but we're here now, and the seers are here, and they're digging up a giant and a dragon using Tom's journal down in this giant archaeological site. And they're chasing us, and they destroyed some village up here. Had a nice coffee shop, though. It really was lovely.
And she goes silent for a moment. Is like, "Okay, give me a moment." And you can hear those footsteps as if she leaves the phone for a second. 13%. As she walks over to the stairs, it's just like, Jen! Like, as she starts shouting up the side. What you can. I think Averick and Paula have at least been in the house enough to hear that you know where her phone is, and she's walking, because this isn't a mobile, this is attached.
Right.
So she's walked up the stairs and started shouting. And you can hear almost like a kerfuffle. You hear shouting from Jin, like, "Where's Tuva? Where is Tuva?" As she starts.
Tuva's here. Tuva's with us.
Fine.
And then you hear almost what sounds like a little bit of an argument. And then she comes out and says, "Hello, sorry about that.
Tuva's here with us. She's alive too. The dragon's getting much bigger."
Oh. And she sort of pauses at that. Like, "Well, I don't, where is my, I can find a pen and paper and I can make some, would you like, it's like, we'll come get you."
Yes, or if you know how the best way to get home, is there a port or something across the bridge that we can try to get back to Karnan? Is Karnan okay?
"Oh, Karnan is fine, absolutely fine. And people are getting a little bit angsty." You can hear like, "Give me the phone. Give me the phone." It's like, no, like it's just everything's fine here. It's just a little bit on edge, I think is how some people put it.
Did a giant attack you? Attack the city?
Goodness no, Valadris is in a bit of a pickle. But we're all lying a little bit low right now.
Well, the seers, I guess, are immortal, and they're trying to awaken, I think, things up here. There was a giant dog that came out of the ocean.
Okay, Averick. Now, you're a very clever individual, so whatever it is you're calling me on, I want you to rig it so that it can make some form of tracker. Can you do that?
Yes. Yes, it's got a transmitter on it. It's how we're talking to you.
Exactly. And you can hear that beep as it hits 6%.
Yeah. I've only got 6% power left. We'll figure out some way to get power back into it.
How long is 6%?
Well, it was at 14 when we started.
Gosh, that's not a lot, is it?
No, ma'am.
Sorry, I made Scrat laughing. He sort of pauses. She's like, okay, so you head towards the bridge and we'll come try and find you. And try and stay away from anything. There's no ports or anything around here. You will be crossing that bridge and you will be heading all the way down. In fact, you really don't want to go the other way.
Wait, we don't want to go backwards. We keep going forwards across the bridge.
Keep going forwards, but once you cross the bridge, go no further.
Okay.
Why?
We rode in a giant's hand, like a big rock giant, came like out of a cliffside and helped us.
And you hear a long pause, and you can hear Jin start shouting in the background again, and what sounds like things being thrown about and moved. You're not sure if it's packing or things being launched. As Aggie is just like, they're the ones that sit in the cliffs, aren't they?
Yes, he was in the cliff.
I wonder how he... And she starts to sort of jabber on a little bit to herself. He's like, well, Averick, what I can do, I need to get someone to look after the cats, you see. So once that's done, I'm sure I'll be on my way.
Do you know any way to stun, immobilize, deal with seers?
No, you just don't go near them.
Well, we've been trying, but did I mention the giant wolf that came out and that a seer hopped on its back and then rode into the ocean?
Yes. No, that is rather troubling. I mean, I do have a slight theory on that one, but I think that's more of a 17% sort of conversation.
Okay, yeah, and it's getting low.
There's those beeps.
It's beeping loud. Anyone else? Tuva, come here, say hi to your mom.
And you hear Aggie just go, yes, it is true. And there's like a crash as Aggie disappears from the phone, and you can hear Jin yelling down the side of this phone. And Tuva's there going,
Yep. No, I'm alive. Yeah, Reese is still here.
And you hear her talking over and over again.
No, by a bridge. Uh-huh.
And she looks towards Polo and is like,
yeah, I'm looking after her. Uh-huh.
And it's like the run off. Like,
okay. Yes. Oh my gosh, Mum.
And like as is the conversation goes, is that there's a sandstorm, and he's just sort of like hands back to Averick.
Averick, can you tell Jin to tell my mom that I'm okay?
Yeah, Aggie, Jen, whoever's still on, can you let
Is that Averick?
Yeah, can you let Paula's mom know that she's okay?
Yes, of course. No, what? Look, just get to the bridge, okay?
That's the plan.
Okay,
I'll rig this somehow. It will be. Oh golly, you're on Aggie's phone. I'll somehow figure out how to let you know what frequency to look for. So whatever we're transmitting on, so you can find us.
The line goes dead.
Well, I think that went well.
So we all recognize that Jen and your mom are probably going to show up with like grenade launchers, which I'm all for, but I'm just making sure we're all clear on what we just unleashed.
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that, especially now that we know what the church is, not what they're capable of, but what they're willing to do.
Yeah, as much as I hate to admit it, I think we're gonna need all the help we can get.
Also, thank you, chat, for picking Florence for that one. So that will be coming into play in a bit.
Okay. I guess I've got work to do to figure out some way to get this powered and become a locator beacon. But a locator beacon that's not going to bring the seers and everybody to us, just bring Aggie and Aggie's angels to us. Okay.
Wait, actually, Averick, remember that tracker I found back at the Star Cave?
Oh, yeah.
I think the receiver is still in your bag, and I'm pretty sure that the actual tracker is somewhere on Aiden's clothes still.
So, yeah.
Maybe that'll be something?
No, it's perfect. Because all this is doing, what they've used is this, see this weird thing on the back? It's just it's a booster. If we just boost your tracker, then it will, and you see just the cogs whirring inside of Averick's head of how he's like, think like Tolan. How would Tolan do? Okay, well, no, and you just see him, and you can see a little like flash of Tolan and Tolan's teaching of him being a tinkerer happening in Averick's mind's eye as he's trying to put this together, sort of in his mind, in his brain of how to put this all together.
Yeah, consider it's yours now. Do whatever you need to do with it, and I'm sure we can figure out where the ghost put the tracker on Aiden.
Yeah, I'll probably need both sides, because Aiden's with us, right? Yeah, we remembered Aiden.
He's out. He's asleep.
Yeah, so it's like, if I've got the receiver and the transmitter, and I've got the booster of the phone, and if we just use it off of, that will work. We might need a ley line. And you hear him sort of going through all this sort of techno arcane babble.
What does everyone else do as this is going on?
Well, I feel like that was productive. And I think Paula starts clearing a space for her to take a rest. and she ponders like, oh, what's it gonna be like seeing her mom again after all this time? But I think overall Paula seems very relieved that they got that out there and that help is on the way.
Okay, so if Paula, are you sort of like laying down and getting ready for sleep kind of thing?
Yeah, definitely. It's been a day.
You've got this, Rika's made this fire in this blacksmith, so it is warming up a lot more now. You can hear the crackle of the fire. You've got that orange glow that's kind of giving you all this very orange sort of bit, bathing you all in this orange color. But what about Reese? What is Reese doing as Rika's settling down, Tuva is, and Paula is? And Aiden's out, so...
I think Reese is actually, this whole time, he's just been kind of standing in what's left of the doorway as the phone conversation and everything goes on, and I think he just stays there.
Just almost like on watch or something. Yeah. You find that Astrid stands behind you, so she's not in the door, but she's got her back to you again, just looking up towards the sky, as if she's trying to listen for that howl again, but nothing comes. And as you stand in that doorway, you look around at what this village was. It's very broken. It's very burnt. There's still some embers flickering in some places. And beneath your feet, you can see where the fire was. It's melted the snow. But with it raining, almost an ice has formed over it, but you can see the tiniest sort of patch of dirt that runs along by the houses where this snow melted, but it wasn't given a chance to fall again before the rain hit. And you can see some things starting to grow. What about Florence?
Florence eyes Aiden a couple of times, trying to decide if she can see where the locator is and maybe snag it, but ends up convincing herself that that's not such a good idea. So she'll, I think, give in to feeling pretty knackered. She had originally been thinking about maybe looking at the forge and this giant piece of stone that she has, but the group has something a lot more important to focus efforts on now. So I think she's ready to take some much needed sleep.
Okay. You can lay down and get comfortable. You've got the silhouette of Reese and Astrid in the doorway. You can hear Averick working away. And Averick, could you roll me a straight up intellect check, please?
Okay, so
for this.
I've actually got some stuff.
Yarp.
So one of the cool things that I do have, I have Boost Cipher.
Mm-hmm.
So I've got that. And we've got we've got the phone, which I'm thinking is, because you call a phone number, that Averick, since he set up Aggie's mobile, he's going to basically use the phone to all but like call the number, to use that as sort of like a secure channel,
mm-hmm.
to then have this tracking beacon be a part of. I was thinking, but it might not be necessary, is the holodisc that I got last time lets me observe any location that I've visited previously, and whether throwing that into the mix of, since it sort of lets you, it's not really a direct correlation, but something along the lines of, I think dialing the number, I think, has got me to the aiming is dialing the number, boosting this signal to have service, and then attaching that to the so I'm going to boost the booster,
mm-hmm.
And somewhat make this the tracking side of this. So it's going to be the phone attached, the phone, the booster, and the transmitter, the thing that we put on Aiden, to put on all to sort of wired together using my Boost Cipher skill.
Okie dokie.
To try to amalgamate something here, to make a way for them to be able to find us. So I'm going to spend my 2 intellect points, which I assume gives me an asset.
Yes.
and then going to definitely spend some effort. Golly, do I spend? He's really gonna work on this, so I am gonna go ahead and use both of my effort on this, which is gonna cost me 6 additional intellect points. Man.
How is Averick right now?
Well, that takes him down to 6 intellect, so out of his pool of 14. So luckily he used might and speed before, so he's got that. And what's my difficulty?
Your difficulty with all of that on is a 3.
So that's with it already reduced, or those 3 things. So it was initially a 6 and that brings it to a 3?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to put it as a 6 with the roller just so it works right.
Mm-hmm. And it's still to the 3 is, it will probably work, but there might be something
Gotcha.
that fizzles with it.
So let's see what happens. Ooh.
Okay.
Even with all that.
So, as you do get it to work, you do get it to be as a tracker. You can see it trying to pick up, but there are 2 things that seem to be going on here. One, you think this phone will only be able to have contact with that number now.
Okay.
So it will only have that link.
Gotcha.
And 2, the signal is weakened by the fact that you've modified it.
Okay.
But you're not sure if that's because it's linked to only one place and it's almost interrupted a signal that goes elsewhere.
Right. Gotcha. Okay.
But it does work as a tracker.
I'm not. He looks around ready to tell everyone. He's probably been, because of especially with the failure, he's probably been working on this for 3 or 4 hours, and he assumes that everyone else, to him, there's only 10 minutes have passed. He's sort of, well, I'm not Tolan, but and he looks around and see. I don't know unless Reese is still up, standing in the door 3 or 4 hours later. So I think he
is.
I was snoring.
Yeah. I don't know if I got it to work, Reese. I'm no Tolan when it comes to this type of stuff, but it's sending something, and I thought it was more important to make sure that it was sending to just, Aggie's phone, and that no one else could hopefully intercept it. But I think they're gonna have to be really darn close to us before they actually can pick it up.
Well,
they know where we're gonna be.
Bridge, so I certainly couldn't have done that.
And if Tolan were here, it would have been a teleporter. They would have been here tomorrow.
Averick, you've done some pretty amazing things. You can't always compare yourself to Tolan.
I just miss him.
You've known him quite a bit longer than I am, and he grew on me pretty quickly, I have to say.
Yeah, you only knew him when he was pretty curmudgeonly. He used to be really exciting, actually. He was actually a lot like you.
I mean, I'm curmudgeonly in my own way. I kind of think that was how our bond started, actually.
That's probably valid. My brain is racing. Maybe I'll go see if I can work on. Let me see if I can work to come up with something for Florence, at least so she doesn't have to carry quite so much of that rock around. It is pretty big the way it is. What do you think, Florence? I mean, do you think like a hammer, or more like a sword, or like 2 daggers, or?
I know Florence is asleep, but what would Florence go for, do you reckon? What would Averick feel is most Florence?
Or are you typing it in? Or are you thinking?
Sarah, are you gonna give us an answer? You unmuted.
Oh man. I think I would be totally down with Abric to just start going to town and making whatever he thinks is most appropriate. I think that's very fun. Or I can give you what Florence might be thinking.
Okay. I mean, I can go to town because from what Averick. So he kind of looks over and sees her sleeping and looks at her and kind of thinks about her. And, has seen, and he starts kind of looks at it and goes, okay. And he starts working away at it. And I'm going to ask Alice, DM question. Should I incorporate the void thing into this?
Well, I mean, if you weren't going to, I was going to. So.
Okay, so that's what I was kind of thinking, is that to go ahead and get that into the game, since our chat so graciously came up with such a cool thing. And so can I just run with this?
Go for it. Whatever.
So I think Averick is over there, sort of at the forge, and we have the forge lit up because just for the heat of it, and Averick just sort of starts the bellows going. It has this rock, and he starts to play around with it, sort of follow the lines of the stone. And at first he starts approaching it like he would, the small forge that they would use back in the lab to work on things. But this is strange. This stone, was also the flesh of a giant, even though it was a stone giant. And as he starts to work with it, he realizes that his power can sort of reach into it the same way that he sort of, melded the seer's flesh. And so he starts using some of his power so he's able to shape it a little bit more. And as he does, following these, the contours of it, he realizes that it sort of wasn't one big weapon, that it perhaps was two. And as he is playing with it, he realizes, just like those giants had come through from somewhere else, there is this sort of golden energy deep inside the stone, and he uses his power to sort of push it out to the sides. And so you see this sort of long central area, and then these two larger sort of heads. And as it does, you sort of see the sort of dark gray hand, the central sort of dark gray handle, and then these two golden heads that are like hammers. One side sort of a bludgeoning tip, and they're opposite. So one side is flat like a bludgeoning tip, but the other side has got a little bit of a point to it. And the two, he goes, and they make sure, and they lock together. So it can either be used as one sort of long staff with these two bludgeoning heads to give reach, since Florence is short, or be broken apart into these two hammers that she can wield one in each hand.
And so as you forge this, it takes you probably until the early hours. it takes you.
He's
very,
going all night. As he gets into it, he wants to do something special.
And you sit there until the early hours, and Reese, you watch as this goes on, using the hearth and the forge itself as well, just even if it's just for the light to see. And Florence, you wake up to these sounds of it just being tested, it locking together, it being switched, but you can see for a moment that gold. It's the same gold as yours. And you can see it almost flaring at the center rather than anything else as it webs across. And you wake up. And Averick, you're probably too focused on getting it right to see Florence wake up, but you wake up.
Yeah, he's sort of doing like the last details on it and using I think a little bit of like this here at the very end. He's actually, you would notice sort of a smile on his face as he's using sort of that last little trail of the fin of the eel to sort of etch these designs in it across the hammer faces. And you can see like a little bit, it's almost like if you watch someone like welding, like an arc welder, that he's to put a design on it. And he takes some of those designs that we saw back there in the well, the ones that had drawn Florence's eyes so much. And I think on one side, you have the magpie on one of the hammers. And on the other side, you have, I don't know whether I would do the door or whether I want to do the cross swords. I think it's a door on one side and a magpie on the other. And as he finishes it off, it is, there, and he kind of like wipes his brow and kind of stands back and holds it up. And I mean, it's probably, when their two hammers are together, it's probably 5 feet, about 5 feet long type idea, 4.5, 5 feet long. So it would give you this really nice reach if you basically could hold on one side and then it's counterbalanced by the other head of the hammer, or spin it from the center or break it apart into these two hammers.
Florence is like woken up eventually by the sound of the forge, and she almost like rubs at her eyes, not quite knowing what she's saying, before the scene kind of snaps into focus and she realizes what Averick is working on. And I think almost tears start to instantly well up in the side of her ears, so she kind of crawls forward a little bit and then finally figures out how to stand again, as she's a little bit groggy.
I think at that point, Averick probably turns around. He's got excitement in his eyes, but you can tell he's been up all night, that he just got into this project and kind of forgot to sleep. I was just going to get started, and I to see what I could do, but I got into it. I hope you don't mind. I went ahead and made this for you.
And made, you went ahead and you got started, and Averick, you made something perfect.
He kind of blushes. It just kind of seemed to fit. And so if you don't want it real big like this, you can, here, look, and he holds it out to her and shows how it sort of kink and breaks apart into two smaller ones. And there's like these two straps that come out, so you can actually do like the Thor spinny thing even. And I don't know what all the glowing does or is, but it was kind of in the stone, and it reacted to, well, what I can do with my body, because I guess it's kind of part of a creature, this giant. And so I was able to Here, see if you want any adjustments, and he hands them the two to her, and then sort of again, you just click it, and it sort of explains to her a little bit of how it works. And I did a magpie and a door because it kind of seems to be what's been guiding us, and you've been guiding us. So,
Averick, I never want to hear you talk about what you can't do, because this is amazing. I've never known anyone who can just turn a stone into 2 works of art in an evening. I will figure out what this magic it does, but you're the one who drew it out of the stone, and I don't think anyone else could have.
I gotta admit, it's kind of what was already there. You ever start just messing with something? Or like, I used to whittle when I was bored, and how you didn't know what was in the wood until it just sort of was there. I mean, I didn't know what it was going to be, but this just seemed like what it wanted to be.
And I couldn't imagine anything else you could do to this to make it more perfect. And at that, she'll take it, and I don't know, I want to say it just feels absolutely perfect in her hands, where the handles have been carved out. It's like the perfect circumference to just feel right, almost like when your hand grips onto a leather strap that's been worn to your own fingers. Mm-hmm. It's like it was forged, already worn to her. I think she puts her hand through one of the straps and spins it around a little bit. I don't think I could think of a change if I wanted to.
Well, I've seen you kind of spin your mail bag before when you used to deliver the mail, and you would be at the end. So I thought that, I don't know, I want to do something nice for you.
Averick. And I think at that, she'll just very carefully kind of lunge forward and just wrap her arms around him in a real tight bear hug, trying really hard not to poke him with the spiky bits.
Well, I was gonna say, he kind of trying to make sure he doesn't get you with the eel fins. So I think it's awkward. It's heartfelt but awkward, just because they're awkward. Florence and Averick are awkward. So
thank you. Oh God, sorry, that was probably a bit tight. I didn't scratch you, right?
Oh no, not I kind of needed a hug.
You didn't shock me.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure. Yeah, it was.
Well, we'll have to get better at that.
We will. Gosh, it's morning already. I've got an idea though. When everyone else gets up, about a block over and 1 street up, just follow the smell of coffee, and you see Averick run out. I am going to go ahead and I'm just going to do I'm going to do a recovery. But yeah, he's not going to sleep tonight. I'm not going to do a full recharge.
Is that from drinking coffee?
Cool. So I got a 6. So I will put that back into intellect. Yeah. So no, he's going to go back to the coffee shop and take a minute or two to just like whatever he can find, set it up, and get coffee brewing and make a little cook fire over there. I guess did Reese go to sleep, or has he been up all night as well?
Yeah, he just stayed up.
Okay. So I think, yeah, he kind of looks at Reese and just give me give me a half an hour. I was going to say 10 minutes, but it's going to be a half hour because it's kind of a mess. But just follow the smell of bacon and coffee. Well, I'm not sure if I can find bacon. Of cooking, just breakfast and coffee, okay? And he runs off.
Okay. And what is Florence doing now that she has these new weapons as Paula wakes up? You see Tuva, who sort of sat in the corner. She's definitely woken up, but she's like, Like, she doesn't quite realize what's happening yet. She's very tired. You can more see that she's half asleep watching you, and this dragon is slowly encroaching on her face and just nudging with its nose, and Brenna the other side that's trying to push it away at the same time. She watches you.
I think just as Averick is starting to run out of the room and it's way too late, Florence is like starting to gesture after him with one of the hammers, like, you have to get some rest yourself, okay? I'll make sure the others come. And then she finds herself just like standing and pointing with one of the hammers. And then she readjusts her grip on it. And then she readjusts her grip on the other one. And then she spins it around in her hands a few times. She's like, oh, this feels really badass. And I think what Tuva finds is Florence, like, there's no way she's getting back to sleep now, and it's, you know, the sun is rising. So she's like pacing back and forth in this zone, like striking poses, because she doesn't really know what to do with this, but she knows that it feels cool when she like strikes different poses and swings them, and she's snapping them together and breaking them apart and just playing.
And Paula, you wake up and you see this, and you see Florence kind of moving with this sort of fluidity as it goes, now that she's got this thing, this weapon, or two really in a way. And you can see almost what looks like this swirl in the stone itself. Not gold, something else. But it's there.
I think at first Paula's not sure if she's like dreaming, like, what is Florence doing with weapons? Like, she's just some post office worker, like, you know. But after blinking a couple times, whoa, what are you doing with those things, Florence? Be careful.
Oh, and I think as Paula wakes up, her voice almost scares her a bit, and she strikes another pose and like strikes down one of the hammers, and it comes a little bit too close for comfort to where Paula's laying down. Oh, right. Averick made these. His work is amazing. This is from the stone that Dusar gave us.
No way. Wait, do you mind if I take a look at those?
Please do. They're works of art, really. I'm gonna have to think of something to do to thank Averick. And she'll hand them down to Paula.
Wow.
Look, it snaps together and then breaks apart. He thought of everything.
These are incredibly impressive. Wow. Oh my gosh, I know Talon would be so proud if he saw this. Nice. Well, I mean, make sure you practice with those things before you go swinging them around. Like, maybe we can set up like some kind of dummy for you to use. But or maybe you can spar with Reese.
Reese, or I know Rika has a sword. And hey, maybe I could give Tuva one of the hammers, and we could both go at it.
I don't think that last one is such a good idea. I think Tuva should definitely stay away from the hammers. In fact, I'd say like maybe like make sure that you specifically try to avoid being in the same vicinity as Tuva with
Tuva
those things.
Watching this as you're both discussing it, she sort of looks past, almost too sleepy to deal with it right now, walks between both of you, gives you both a look, and walks towards Reese. And is that,
Are we having breakfast before we go?
as she sort of like rubs her eye.
Because they're arguing really loudly.
Yeah, Averick said to meet him in a little bit and just follow the smell of cooking.
Okay.
And she sort of nods and just starts walking out of the blacksmith's. You can see her sort of go sniff the air and go,
Ah,
and start heading in the direction where she can smell hot coffee.
Reese
You
will
can
go
hear
with
her
her.
just like smells like Averick as she starts like walking down the street.
Oh, right, Paula. Averick's making breakfast. We can go join when we're ready.
Yeah, no, I could really go for some food. Yesterday, having that sear in my mind kind of drained me of everything. I can go
Yeah.
for some breakfast.
Hopefully that doesn't happen again, and that a good night's rest helped out a little bit.
Oh, yeah, definitely. No. Rest was good, but breakfast is what I need right now. I think Paul will head over towards following that same scent trail.
You can head in that direction. And Reese, Astrid sort of looks up at you and Tu starts to follow. You think she's following Tuva more than Polla, but she's closer behind Polla.
I'm sorry, did you say Tuva was close behind?
No, Tuva's just in front of you. You've got
Okay.
Astrid following up behind you.
Okay. Is Astrid by herself, or is she with Reese?
Would Reese follow?
Well, I was gonna follow Tuva initially.
Oh, you can follow Tuva as well then. And you can. Are you following Florence, or are you staying back? And
I think Florence will let Aiden and Rika know to head over when they're ready for food, and then she'll leave as well.
And Averick, you're in this. What have you done to this place, which is a coffee shop? But...
Yeah, so it's how I kind of imagine it is that it was probably at once a 2-story building, almost like Brew and Bindings, where the person would have lived up top, but that sort of the front has been burned off of it. But that the second floor is still there, so there's still sort of like a sheltered area. And since there's been snow and stuff like that, so it's kind of like he's gone and he's sweeped out the bottom floor of snow, and there's a little bit of an overhang, but also from the fire, I think that probably across like that front edge of, where the upper floor would have been, that now is just sort of open to the sky. But because of the fire, there's probably like icicles across the top. So it's a little bit kind of fancy as they walk in. I mean, there's, only 3 walls, so the back wall, which wasn't affected too bad for the fire, where sort of the counter would be. And then the other 2 walls sort of stick out, what's left of them kind of ruined as the sort of the front of it's been burnt off. But maybe a little bit like about half wall towards the front, or a third of a wall, just a little bit what's left of the ruins and rubble that's fallen. But he sort of cleared it off. I think he's probably not able to find tables and stuff. They probably got burned a little bit, but he has found, been able to clean off the counter. The countertop still seems pretty good. And there's one sort of area over to the side where one of the tables he was able to salvage, sort of like, so it's like a half table, part of it's been burnt off, so he's like turns it to the wall, so it's still got a nice edge and no one's going to get like charcoal on them. And whatever he's found for chairs, maybe some baskets or crates or things like that. And then I think probably from the back, he has found at least a sort of a larger way to make coffee, whatever kind of boil water, he's got that going on the little fire. I figure, again, as a coffee shop, it maybe had like some dried pork or something that was in a small little salt house or something. And so he's got that out, probably not like bacon, but maybe more like ham or something, or salted ham that he's got going. And he's just tried to make it as nice as possible. I mean, if there's anything that wasn't affected by the things, whatever sort of winter, maybe if he just for jokes. He finds some kind of like a winter fern, because there was always the jokes about ferns in the coffee shop, and that he finds some little winter fern that he has, sort of scooped out the dirt and put it in some kind of probably broken, vase or something, and put it on the table, and another one up on the counter. And, he had such a nice sort of reminiscent experience that he's sort of sitting there behind the counter, and you can see he's real kind of, proud of himself, that he has, sort of tried to put this together as best that he could. And as they walk in, he's like, so, welcome to Bruin Bindings North.
Tuva's like head sort of looks at her and says, wow, as she unzips her coat and this dragon kind of falls out and immediately starts sort of not cantering about the room, but is sniffing everything, moving, just bounding about, sort of Brenna very, very close. She's like,
it's kind of like Bruin Bindings.
That was what I was going for. I mean, my place has like, a front wall. But I thought the icicles were nice. I was going to knock them down, but I thought I'd leave them up. I thought that the fire looked kind of nice. The cook fire looked a little bit nice in them. And, Clyde liked them too. And Clyde sort of being his normal self behind the counter, always in the way. I think he probably puts his paws up on the counter like he would normally do. There's not great cups, but I found at least a couple. Rika, how do you take your coffee?
And Rika
or tea?
Sort of like
I can make tea as well.
Strides in through there, so she's very, very tall. Looks around at everything. And what have you got?
I mean, I've got black coffee. I've got my own tea that I brought up from Karnan. If you
tea,
yeah, I'll get some going. And Reese black, if I recall, black coffee, yes. And Paula, lots of cream and sugar. I think this is sugar. It's sort of sweet. Yeah.
This will probably do. I actually, I only like the cream and sugar on good days.
Oh, on evenings, yeah. I get it.
Evenings that works too.
Yeah, usually you're and Florence, I always see you in the afternoon too. Whenever you've stopped, how would you like yours? Do you want coffee or tea? Or there's something back here that looks like cider, but I think it's probably got a kick to it.
Ooh, let's go with mystery drink.
Okay, and so I pour out with probably some sort of fermented fruit drink.
It's probably alcoholic.
I'm thinking alcoholic. I'm thinking it's definitely alcoholic.
Sniffing it and is like,
yeah, I don't think it's for you to, but
no. Oh no, she sniffs it. It's like,
Granddad used to drink something like that.
Yeah, I think it's probably like apple brandy or something, whatever a northern fruit would be. I can put some tea in whatever. I might join you. I've been up all night.
Yeah, dealer's choice.
Yeah, I think he'll make Florence a basically kind of like a hot toddy out of this, out of tea and this sort of fermented brandy, cider, whatever. I figure it's kind of tart, tart but sweet, and it's just sort of heated up salted pork, but at least it's warm. And Tuva, can you get your dragon to like probably kind of be a space heater, like right around there by the table?
What? You mean sit down?
Yeah. Well, because he's always so warm. She's always so warm. Do we know?
Does she?
I mean, okay.
And she sort of like pulls this dragon, like she just pulls.
I kind of looked at
it.
Reese. I was like, how would we even check that?
And you see her pulling like this dragon towards her as it's sort of there hissing at Brenna, as Brenna is sort of it like a play fight kind of thing. It's not really much.
Clyde will get in on that action.
It's more that the dragon's frustrated that every time it leaps for Brenna Brenna goes incorporeal, so it's more the frustration that's happening over there. And she pulls this dragon over and sort of hitches up, or half on the table, almost like how Clyde normally
under
has.
the that's fine.
Why?
You know, I don't know whether having a dragon on the table is polite or not, but and Lord knows Clyde never doesn't bother him. You see Clyde's got his front paws up on the countertop.
So I'm sure it's polite, and it sort of like goes up, and you feel the table rock and all.
Nope, it is definitely not polite. And Paul is like shooing the dragon.
And this dragon looks, it's sort of like that hiss that comes out as you sort of shoo and point at it, but it does slowly walk backwards and climb back down.
So I got he just sort of brings out a platter. So there was some salted pork. I couldn't find any eggs. I mean, if someone really wanted to try to like climb a tree and see if there's a bird's nest or something, maybe we could have eggs, but I got meat. I don't know what everyone else has got in their packs. Aiden, do you have any? I mean, we've got hot water. If we've got like porridge or dried grainy type things.
Aiden is sat there like this on the other side of the table and looks up at you as he's sort of hugging the tea that you've given him. He's like, I have dried meat.
We got that covered. But hey, let's all get our morning and sit for a second and pretend like, just for a minute, and he finally sits down with his coffee and just kind of looks up, and you kind of see this sort of wistful, hopeful look in his eyes of just needing a minute of normal, or however normal this crazy group can be.
Averick, this feels very sentimental.
Yeah.
Are you holding up okay?
I know the answer is supposed to be yes, but it's been tough. Just a long way from home. And even though I've been on adventures before and seeking before, it almost feels like I'm not sure what we're going to go back to when we get back to Karnan. That it's not going to seem the same somehow. I mean, the season tree's gone. What's Karnan without the season tree and the night market? And I mean, it's even weird that the Gardenium district's back. Because while it's great and wonderful, it's just everything's changing so fast. I mean, I guess including me.
Yep, there's definitely been a lot of change in a very short period of time, and I don't think anyone would blame you for feeling a little stressed out or overwhelmed. It feels like normal was such a long time ago.
Right. So I figure, what are the things that are always the same? Even when it's weird or crazy or everything's different and nothing seems right and we're far away from the people that we know and the places we know. Coffee still smells the same, no matter where you are.
And at least you got to hear Aggie's voice for a little bit. Yeah.
That was nice.
I guess we'll have to take our wins where we can get them.
Who knows what the bridge is going to hold for us.
I mean, I can't imagine it would be much worse than some of the places we've already been.
Why did you say that?
Did I jinx it? I might have jinxed it.
Shoot. I hope not. That... I mean, if it weren't so crazy, it would be almost exciting or funny. Or our friend the giant trounced a church archaeological dig that's over the skeleton of a dragon and a sleeping giant. That was yesterday.
You know, one thing I've learned to do very quickly on this adventure is learn to not think so much. I mean, I used to think a lot, and you know what? I still do think a lot, but definitely a lot less than a couple months ago. You know, I find that the more you think, the less things make sense.
So,
I much prefer it when I have a book that tells me exactly what to think.
I guess that's kind of what this is. Cup of coffee with folks and what's left of a coffee shop. Gets to be, at least for bottom of the cup, kind of a no-think zone.
And as you all sit there in this cafe from home, as you sit there for a moment, the one thing that probably breaks that strangely calming silence is Tuva. Not saying anything, just as she slowly finishes that gurgle from the last bit of her mug, Brenna up by her shoulder, tucked under. And you all get a little bit sprayed with hot tea as this dragon awkwardly tries to lap it out of a bowl far too small for its face. And you sit there, for once in quite a while, sheltered from the cold outside as it starts to snow. And I think that is where we will take our break. So everyone, we're going to take a 5-minute break. Please go get a drink, go stretch your legs, and tell your pets you love them. So we will be back in just a moment. See you in a second. Bye. Oh, hi everyone. We are sat in a makeshift broom bindings right now. And as you all finish your breakfast and your coffee, are you getting ready to go?
Yeah, I mean, Averick, yep, is...
Oh, yeah. I think Paula has kind of collected her things, but she definitely wants to like get an idea of what's ahead if she can. If there's like any like old like buildings or anything climbable that can give her some elevation to see if, I don't know how far the bridge is at this point, but just to see what they're up against.
You could easily climb one of the buildings. I think because Paula's done it so often, you can sort of clamber up and you look out and you can see the bridge. And it is probably, I'd say, about half a day's walk. But you can see it. It's huge. And you also can see how where this settlement is, it sort of curves around into the mountainside. So if you look up to your right, it's just mountain. All the way up to as far as you can see. It sort of weaves, so it's not a dead straight line. So you can't quite fully see around the corners on that side. But you can see the bridge. There doesn't seem to be any other settlements or anything in the way. Somewhere you can hear a crashing of what sounds like water coming from the right-hand side as well.
Do I see any movement, any people, little black dots on the
You
horizon?
can roll me an intellect check and we'll see if, or perception. I can never remember who has perception.
I do have perception. I am... Do I want to use an advantage? Yeah, I'm going to use an advantage. And I'm going to throw in an effort as well.
Okay. From where you are, you think you can see something and you try and stand up a little bit higher. You climb on that last sort of bit, which you think at one point was like a chimney or something. There's a chimney stack. And you look and there's something that's just poking out the side of the right hand by all the mountains where you think it looks like there's some people. Almost like a small camp, almost like your own. But it's at a distance, and you can only just about see them. They're not that far ahead of you. You know, they're not like a couple of hours, it's under an hour's walk, but you can see them moving, getting up, you can see a fire. It's early morning.
I guess we're almost there. Paula will climb down and relay to everyone that the bridge is within sight. So we'll definitely get there today. There seems to be someone that's up ahead, and hopefully that's our guy.
Did you see a wolf?
I did not see a wolf. Is that something that I should be looking for?
Yes.
Noted. No wolf. Just a campfire maybe, but it was kind of hard to make out with all the everything's all like snowy and white, so it just kind of all blends together.
Good to know.
But no seers and no giant dogs, so glad that wasn't in the way.
And Tuva sort of looks up. You can see her putting on all of her layers. She's got a dragon zipped up in there with her. Brenna sort of sat on her shoulder. She's like,
We off then?
Seems like it.
Rika just starts moving. She's got Adrian by her side. She's not helping him, but you can definitely tell she's watching him in case he falls over. It's not like he's injured or anything. He just looks so drowsy for whatever they did to him. But Tuva sort of looks towards all of you
So when we get to the bridge,
as she starts walking.
what are we gonna do?
Well, we wait, I guess. I mean, that's the plan right now, right? To set up Averick's tracker and wait.
And then she looks over to Reese.
And find your friend.
Hopefully.
And she nods and starts to walk. Do you all follow? Are you all just walking now towards the bridge? Okay.
Reese is gonna hang back just a second.
Okay.
And he lets everyone not get so far away, but just far enough he double checks the blacksmith to make sure everyone picked everything they wanted to take with them up, and he grabs a piece of whatever might be remaining of the stone that made Florence's hammer, and he puts it in his pocket, and as he starts to catch up, he's pulled out a piece of wood that he's starting to whittle.
You sort of trot behind Astrid, she doesn't follow you back to the blacksmith, but she waits on the edge of the village for you, knowing how quick you'll be. And as soon as you sort of walk past her, she immediately is at your side as you all start to head out into the snow again. And you walk probably for about half an hour to 45 minutes, and Paula, those people are getting closer and closer, as in like in your vision, in your view. And you can see it's a group of people sat around a fire. There's tents up. There's probably about 8 to 9 people here, but you can only see the edge of camp. You can't see what tucks around the corner of the side of the mountain where it's dipped in, probably in there for shelter more than anything. But you can see it.
Does the camp do they have like tents or anything like that?
Yeah, there's a couple of tents, what looks like standard traveling gear that you would, if you lived in a city. It's modern stuff. This isn't just, any old thing.
So it doesn't resemble the Seekers camp then? Or does it?
Not the Seekers.
Oh, okay. Not the Seekers, Seers. My bad.
You can't see any seers there.
Okay.
You can't see any seers there.
Hey, looks like people are up ahead. They don't seem to be seers, but guard up, everyone. I think Paula will.
I mean, do we have a plan? I mean, are we gonna...
Oh, I was thinking we say hello.
Maybe we should sneak up and see who they are. If maybe they're just in case, right? Then say hello.
Yeah. I didn't realize. I mean, I guess the church could be spread out.
I mean, so far the only... Well, I can't say that. I mean, I'm worried. After we left, the people who rescued us, everyone up here has not been particularly friendly or seeming like that they've got the same agenda that we do.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I want to believe that they'll be friendly and helpful, but we can also be careful.
Well, I'd be happy to sneak up as best I can. I can be pretty quiet. I've learned how to stand on my toes, so I can tiptoe around. I guess Paula will is it try to quietly
Yeah, can you roll
sneak around?
not an intellect, a speed check, sorry, for me, please.
Can I use careful movement?
Absolutely.
Okay. I'm gonna throw in one effort. Oh.
And here we go.
Okay. How do you try to sneak up?
Paula thinks like her old dance moves are gonna be like just fine. Like, you know, like she's thinking more about form than function. And so you know, she's like hopping around on her toes and she's getting into it and whatnot. And I think she loses track of her goal and instead just focusing a little too much on grace and trips over like a twig or something stupidly small. And but it throws off all her balance because she's really like legit walking on the tips of her toes. And so you know, it throws everything off. She goes face first, and there's a loud huff and puff.
You approach this, and the three of you can watch Paula edge around the side of that mountain, just that little bit that dips in. So she disappears from sight for a moment. And Paula, as you trip, you're so close to the camp. None of them move. They continue eating and chatting. And as you sort of freeze for that moment with your hands in the snow and slowly go to get up, you feel a blade in your back. Hello. As this voice sort of almost musically comes forward. And it's a fairly youngish man, long hair tied back loose, stubble across his face. In furs, these don't look like members of the church, but he sort of smiles. You can see a very heavy, almost like lined big leather jacket, like it's one of those big padded ones. Why are you sneaking around camp?
Oh, you just you never know. I mean, between the night witches, night hags, and the different creatures of the woods, you can never be too safe up north. You must be are you Gideon?
No, I'm not. And you feel a heavy sort of hand slap on the back of your neck and grab where your coat is and just start dragging you forwards into this camp. And you just, this moment of, Ron, you were right. There was someone sneaking around. And he throws you straight into the snow in front of these other, there seems to be about 8 here. There's about 3 women. And the rest are men, and they all look at you. They all look pretty hardened, but these people are Valadrian. And they make perfect sense to you. There's no language difference, and they sort of look you up and down, you can see fairly ornate sort of looking traveling gear, if anything. Your, what was it you called me? As he sort of flips you over in the snow polar, still got like that blade out, looking at you.
Oh, I don't know. I just fell over, so I just said the first name that came to mind.
You said Gideon.
No, I didn't. Is that what you heard? I don't know.
I'll take you to Gideon. And he grabs you again. This time is sort of at your front, and he's dragging you back. This guy is big. He's heavy. You can feel like you can see this large anarque sort of padding by his feet, and as you see this tiger, this almost ice blue sort of walk beside him, and you're sort of being dragged, like you can hold on to this, but this is heavy, and he throws you down almost by the corner of the mountainside. And there is a man bound, eyes are not open, he's breathing, but he's battered. There is blood from his forehead down across his face where it's obviously run down whilst he's been asleep. Nose looks broken. And his hands are behind his back, feet tied. This older man as well. But he looks broad. He looks like, from looking at it, he looks like he had a fight. But he doesn't move. And this other man pulls you up to his face. That is Gideon. And as he drops you, you can hear this nasty snarl and bark as over by the side of this, mountain, there's this almost like this cart with a huge cage on the side of it, which has some supplies in it. But you can see where the bars have been bent slightly as this huge wolf is snarling and biting, and the jaws are clamped around the bars as it's trying to pull towards, as it's looking at Gideon, and as it sees this person, it's like it loses its rage, and you can see the cart is not upright. This wolf has obviously thrown itself against the bars enough to knock the entire thing over. This is a much bigger wolf than Astrid. You can see almost graying patches of hair in this red fur as it snarls and tries to get towards Gideon. Very, very blazing yellow eyes. And this man holds you in place. Now, what do you want with Gideon?
We have mutual friends, and we said we would meet by the bridge. It was really nothing. I mean,
it was really nothing.
Yeah.
So you're not much use to us.
I am a librarian. I'm also a pretty good dancer. But you see, it's very important that I make it to the bridge. You see, that's where my ride is meeting me. It was great meeting you. What was your name again? I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that.
And he looks at you. I didn't tell you. And he pulls you up a little bit closer. Now, you see, your job is a dancer and a librarian. Mine is to stop people from getting to the bridge. What is a librarian doing this far north, where there are no books, no libraries, no nothing?
Well,
You're very lost for someone. And he sort of looks at you up and down. That accent's Carnan.
Well, you see, that's a very good question. Very, very good question. And I'm not sure exactly why I'm here, but I think I have some friends that might. So I am just gonna go
Okay.
get them.
First of all, and he's holding you like half suspended in air. He's just like, I don't think you're going anywhere. You're not going to the bridge. And he chuckles and looks back at some of the others who are currently laughing and eating at the same time. Look at his face as she makes you turn and look at Gideon. And as I said, it doesn't look good. This is what happens when a seer gets you good, but they still want you alive. I don't really know myself why we need to keep him, but they want to talk to him. She wants to talk to him.
Oh, I don't think that's a good idea. They're not very good people. I know they can be very charming sometimes, very deceptive. But I think you'll find that that they're not exactly on our side, Gives him a nudge.
No, but they pay well. Do you like wolves? Big dogs, as he starts to drag you towards where the cage is.
Hey girl, hey, just kind of like, just kind of trying to like.
This wolf isn't even looking at you. It's currently trying to throw itself at the cage towards this man. And he looks at you and puts you a lot closer to the cage. As much as this wolf isn't going for you, it's jumping in his direction, and you can see the teeth on this thing as that snarl, as it snaps, as it wedges them between the bars, bending them again slightly. Now, you said you had friends waiting for you. Where are they?
Oh, I was more so using them as like a bargaining chip.
That's not very friendly of you.
Well, you don't exactly seem like the friendly type.
I'm not. The thing is, I work up north, so I don't have to mix with people, but you've just wandered right up here. And at the moment, you are not showing of how much value you could be for me, which kind of renders you being here just another stomach to feed.
Can I try to like does he have like a knife on his belt or something like, or
He's
like
holding. He's holding one at you.
He's holding one. Okay. Gideon, does he have any weaponry on? Like
everything's been taken from him.
Everything's been taken. Okay. Shit. Okay. I think that you're a smart guy. I think you're a smart guy. And you seem to be like someone that looks out for yourself. So if you really want to do what's in your best interest, I suggest that you untie my friend over here and let his wolf out of the cage, unless you want to get roasted alive by a dragon.
And he just... Okay. So, where are you hiding this dragon? In your back pocket?
Oh, well, you see, it's not a fully grown dragon, but it's a little bit bigger than my back pocket. I mean, don't be silly. It's still a dragon.
Yes, how silly of me. And he looks towards Gideon, who is like got these very shallow breaths. And you can just see where this blood has dried and matted in his hair and across his face and down his beard. You know what I'll do? I'm going to tie you up for a bit. And if you're good, I won't put you in the cage.
Sorry, I just got notifications. Like,
I forget you've got the notifications.
And it just scared the shit out of me. You know what? Oh, thanks for the donation, by the way. You know what? I think that will be just fine. And Paula will hold out her hands to be tied up. And the plan is that at some point while he's tying up my hands, I can do like some kind of like distraction, sleight of hand type of thing, and try to take his knife.
Okay. Roll me a speed check, please, as you're trying to get him to do just that.
Okay. Can I use performance as like a distraction, like to kind of do like a...
Oh gosh, yeah. If you want to do, do it as a distraction.
Okay. And I'm going to put in 3 effort. Actually, wait. Did Ferdy just gift me a nat 20?
Hang on. Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to use my nat 20.
Okay. So.
And yeah.
You, for a moment, as you put your hands out for him to take it, you see him sort of sheath that knife for a second and pull out this rope. And as he does, you see that moment to use one of them and reach forward and grab his knife. So, as you are doing that, you are now stood face to face with this man as he looks to you angrily, and you have stepped back and you have the knife in your hand. What are you doing? As he goes, okay, we've played enough now. Maybe you want to give that back to me, or are you going to get the dragon out?
And Paula will call for Lyaria. Lyaria, I need your help.
And I will say that Reese and Florence, you have that moment as you're all waiting, and Tuva's there sort of holding this dragon, and she half starts getting dragged because Lyaria is in Tuva's jacket, and she starts getting dragged towards the side of this mountain because this dragon is getting out. And you see it start cantering, sort of almost take flight, but it's more of a glide. She runs off around the side of the mountain. What do you do?
I just look at Florence and then I go.
Florence has seen that look in his eyes now once, and it only took once to now know what it means. And she rushes off after him.
Yeah. Reese, you start charging ahead. You're probably a little bit further ahead than Florence as you just bolted. Florence, you are running up behind. Tuva is close behind you, Reese, and you notice as she's running, she's like, Lyaria! She's like running after this thing, after this dragon that is currently galloping. And Paula, as you stand there, with this knife brandished in your hand, and this man sort of like, okay, and turns around at the noise, hearing the rest of the camp startle as this dragon throws itself onto the back of this guy, and you see those jaws just sink into the side of its shoulder, just all the way down here, as the mouth goes all the way down to the chest. He screams and starts trying to pull it off as it is, and you can see the flames starting to well up in this dragon's mouth, and the eyes start to burn as well. And it looks a little bit too close for comfort, so as you feel this flame explode in front of you, you feel the heat, but as you look back, you can see Tuva is there and has put both Ayaria and this man in a bubble. And you see that fire sort of swell. My goodness, thank you so much for those gift subs. But you see this fire almost like lick around this dome as it protects you from the flames that are not quite controlled yet. As he screams and writhes in this orb as this dragon starts tearing into him. Reese and Florence, you come charging forwards. You can see about 7 other people suddenly dropping things and getting to their feet. Some of them are grabbing, almost they look more like walking sticks than actual weapons. They're big staffs, and you can see that they have guns on their hips. What are you doing?
Okay, I think I have an idea. I don't know what you... So, I want to use my new ability that I got. I want to manipulate time, but what I'm doing is Reese is going to take a gun from 2 people, so he has one in each hand.
Mm-hmm.
And I want it essentially to... Basically, I want it to look like he just appears in the middle of this kerfuffle with 2 guns. With 2 guns pointed at enemy people.
Okay, first of all, thank you for the hype train. Don't forget the rewards that come alongside this, and you've done it at the perfect time in the middle of a fight. So, Reese, roll a speed check for me to see if you can get the guns off of them.
Spend effort. Is there a difficulty I'm aiming for?
If it's getting the guns off of them, a 2 because they're startled.
12.
Yeah. Okay, so Florence, probably what you see Reese running, and there's that moment where you blink and he's already in the camp, in the center of these 7 other individuals. You can hear screaming from somewhere on the other side of the camp, and a wolf snapping and snarling. There is this moment where you see Reese almost in a blink. Reese, you have these 2 pistols in your hand, and you stand with them pointed at least 2 of these individuals. Florence, what are you doing as you see this?
She blinks a couple times, tries to keep track of where Reese is and what he's doing. And when it becomes clear that isn't going to happen, she continues rushing forward. She's pulling out these obsidian and slate hammers. She has decided that the coolest feeling for them is to have one in each hand. Mm-hmm. And she's just rushing forward, almost kind of dragging them along the ground as she goes. And she is finding herself in the middle, or rather she's running up on the camp, and she's trying to get eyes on Paula. That's what she's looking for.
Okay. Oh, hype train, sorry. We are almost completed level 2, which will give me lots of disadvantages to use against the players in a fight. So, Paula, you have just seen Reese almost emerge in this group of people as this man is sort of kind of being savaged by this dragon as he runs off to the side, trying to throw himself into the snow as Tuva's bubble effectively bursts, and that flame sort of like engulfs out of it as soon as it hits the air. The dragon sort of pushes off and glides to a sort of a very slow stop in front of you. As Tuva comes skidding forwards, you can see Florence charging towards the group and Reese already armed in front of all of them. What are you doing, Paula? You're muted.
Thanks for the bits. So what was the state of the guy that was attacking me?
The one attacked by the dragon is basically done. The dragon has done it. He's if anything, he's running away because he's currently on fire. He's trying to throw himself into the snow.
Okay. I want to and where does it look like the others are like giving their attention right now?
Are they looking all focused on Reese right now? Reese has literally just appeared in front of them and taken 2 of their guns without warning.
Oh. Okay. I'm gonna try to sneak up behind one of the distracted guards. And do a little like spinning kick situation with my
Oh my goodness, thank you, Fernando. Oh my god.
thank you. Wow, that's huge.
Roll a mic check for me, please.
Okay. Now I want to think my way out of this. So I'm gonna turn that might check into an intellect check.
Yes.
And Paula has looked through this textbook a number of times, her father's book, and she knows the different parts of the body and she knows exactly what's gonna hurt. So she aims and wait. Okay, intellect. I'm going to in fact, no, I'm not going to use an advantage yet, but I am going to put in 2 effort. 2 effort. 2 effort.
Yeah. Okay, so Reese, as you almost emerge at that moment and you point that gun, one of them has stopped, and as he does, you see Paula emerge almost out of nowhere. Arm goes around the shoulder, another hand comes over towards, and Paula, as you said, you know how the body works. And at that moment, you just pull on the arm just enough to hear it snap. And as you do, this person just buckles. They're not like, what does it look like? How is Paula doing this?
So Paula actually she kind of has her eyes closed because she doesn't want to see, but also because she's visualizing like the diagrams of her father's book and is, and she's trying to get the feel for it because, she's memorized most of these pages through her dance routines. So she's thinking, what dance moves would I use, and she kind of like flings her arm out in like some dramatic pose. And while doing so, parting the sky pretty bad.
Yeah, you sort of take that moment. It's almost like you're saying the steps as you go through, as if you're picturing it like you're on stage. And Reese, you see it as Paula effectively pushes the person out, and when pulls them back in, pulls the arm back the other way and sends this person screaming to the floor as you hear that snap. And Paula, you can hold him down in the snow as you look up towards Reese. Reese, what are you doing?
So I had an idea, and granted we haven't talked about it much, but I feel like to do this I need to spend points. But basically I want to make more than 2 attacks by slowing down time, so that I want it to sound like a single gunshot goes off, but I want to have fired 3 times out of each gun at different people every time.
That's Prince of Persia this. Okay, so first of all, thank you for this hype train. Scrat is saying everyone can have another 2 advantages. And from this, before we see what the final result is, everyone's getting a deck of many cards. We know that. So as this happens, Reese, what does it look like when Reese slows time down?
To everyone else, that smoke starts to come off him like that other time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think to Reese, it's almost, even though he's moving normal, it's almost like watching frames removed from a movie. So it's, instead of like that nice smooth transition, you're getting a frame, a frame, a frame, and he is just like, he's got the guns out at his sides and he just fires them and he turns and he fires them and he turns and he fires them, and except to everyone else it'll sound like a single gunshot went off.
Roll a speed check for me, please. This is another 2 purely because of your ability. Otherwise this would normally be harder.
I'm gonna spend effort again, and because I think we'll have to talk about this later, but I'm gonna spend 2 points to activate the ability on top of my effort, so that I'm draining speed pretty fast. And because Roll20 likes to be mean, I'm gonna spend an advantage as well.
Fabulous.
Natural 20.
On a nat 20, you do exactly that. The pistols come out, both sides, and there's that moment where Paula and Florence, you hear like 1 gunshot, but as you do, you see 3 men drop as Reese almost glitches in and out of the place where he stands, and those gunshots go off, and there's this explosion almost of color from some of the edge, almost like that almost rainbow oil slick sort of movement as he turns round. And there are 3 there are 3 people left as they stand. They've just watched one of them have their arm broken as Paula stands there, and as Reese has come in and just plowed through the crowd. What is Florence doing with the 3 that are currently scrabbling to get some weapons and pull their own guns out?
Florence, her eyes snapped to where Paula is, and she shouts out, Are you okay?
You're muted, Paula.
I think Paula's still kind of like cringing at the fact that she just broke someone's arm. Yeah, I think I'm okay. And she like kind of gags a little bit, like.
Did they take anything from you? Is there anything else we need to do before we leave? Run.
We have to free Gideon and his dog.
Oh, and Florence will like look around. Is she able to spot Gideon or kind of make some logical leaps?
Oh yeah, you can see a really battered up person stood sort of in the background, mainly because you can hear the wolf that is currently losing it, trying to get out towards him and towards the other people at camp.
Oh, jeez, that's awful. Okay, I'll get Gideon. You get the wolf, and she'll snap her hammers together so that she can hold them in one hand, and then she'll rush over to Gideon, and the first thing she's trying to do is remove the ties and the rope from him so he can move freely. So I think she's taking the
he is fully knocked out
end.
He is fully knocked out. That's the one thing I will say.
So
you have got Rika charging after you, and she's good at carrying.
So she's I think gonna start with trying to kind of use her hammer to that war pick side to try and get the rope off, and then she realizes if this isn't waking him up, nothing else is. So she will start to kind of get him ready to get picked up, and she'll just almost whisper down at him, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna get you out of here. Rika, over here, I need help. And she'll start waving Rika over.
She comes sprinting towards you. Paula, what are you doing?
Can you carry?
Oh, Rika's already like pulling you up. You've got Paula coming up next to you. You've got Rika is already trying to heft, and Gideon is big. Like he's definitely bigger than Rika, and sort of just a bit taller than Reese. So she heaves him over, and it's half dragging, half trying to get him out of there. What's Paula doing?
So I think she approaches the cage with caution. Hey, puppy, how you doing?
Oh, roll an intellect at disadvantage, please.
Okay.
I'm using a disadvantage.
I'm actually going to use an advantage to cancel that out.
Okay. Yeah. You approach, and as much as he's snarling, you realize he's now not snarling at you, he's snarling past you, watching this whole sort of thing carry out, as he's watching the men and women that are currently circling Reese.
All right. So now that I feel confident that the dog is at least distracted, I'm going to try to find the lock, and like what kind of locking mechanism is this cage using?
This does just look to be like lots of heavy duty locks more than anything else. Nothing magic here. This is just heavy duty locks.
Okay. Lockpicking. And Paula's trying to like rack her brain, and she's She always has her hair in a bun, so she's got bobby pins on hand. But okay, let's think. And she tries to think back to like maybe flipping through an old camping book in the library. But she's not particularly experienced with lock picking. But at least she's got a bobby pin, and she's gonna try to pick this lock.
You do have someone who is, though.
Ree?
You tell Tuva off all the time.
Tuva!
She's currently screaming, chasing after this dragon right now. So.
Hey, Tuva!
What?
You break into houses, right?
Yeah.
As she starts running back over towards you.
Good, you're exactly who I need right now. Here's a bobby pin. Do your thing.
She looks at you and it's like,
I thought I wasn't allowed to do anything like that.
Well, I'd say that these are special circumstances, wouldn't you?
Okay.
She looks at the bobby pin and just throws it behind her before reaching into her jacket and pulling out this set and pulling out these lots of different bits and bobs. As she starts trying to work a proper lock picking set that comes out. Could you roll with advantage to someone is going to start running towards you, so I need you to watch her back.
Yes, I can watch her back.
You can see this woman come tearing towards you, and she has this this huge, again, a tiger like an archway, and she looks very similar. You think these could be siblings from earlier, as she comes charging towards you and Tuva, as Tuva is trying to get this out. She's like, nearly there, gonna get it out, as she starts.
Can I use speed defense?
Oh yes.
Cool. Oh, I have a plan. Okay.
She's there going, could you please just keep him off me for like 10 minutes?
Oh
so
yeah,
like,
I got this.
She starts. You can see she's holding bits in her mouth. She then shoves some of the other things into the dragon's mouth as it's just sat there holding things for her. As this person comes running towards you, how are you stopping them charging towards you with the Sonarque, which is now blazing in orange?
I'm sorry. Did you say that it was with advantage or no?
No, not with advantage.
Okay. Shit. Paula, she's gonna try to cause a distraction, so she's gonna move away from Tuva a little bit and try to draw this lady away and kind of taunt her. And the plan is to get her as close as possible, but then at the last second, like leap over their shoulders.
I will say on a 2, you sort of brace yourself like, okay, I got this. Like as you're trying to defend Tuva, and this woman full-on clotheslines you as you both go crashing down into the floor. It's like a full-on rugby tackle as she throws you both into the snow. And you can hear Tuva like, in a minute, and she's like trying to bite onto things and get this wolf that is now currently shaking this cage violently. Reese, what are you doing?
How many people are left?
There's currently 2 by you. The other one ran in the direction of Paula. No Inarque in these 2.
You know, Reese is just gonna fire the guns in the air until they empty. Whatever, I don't know if they've got magazines or the revolvers, but he's just boom as fast as he can without actually slowing down time.
Okay.
And then he's just he shouts at the remaining people to lay down your arms, get on the ground.
Could you roll me? Are you doing this as an intimidation?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, could you roll me a might, please?
Sure can. Gonna spend some effort too. I think that's how the math works. What difficulty am I shooting for?
You were shooting for 3.
You know, I'm gonna spend another advantage since we got that amazing hype train.
Would Florence be able to help out by, like, she was covering Rika for a second, and then she's gripping onto her double-sided warhammer.
Oh yeah, if you want to head over
good
there.
about it.
Yeah.
And instead she now turns back to where Reese is, and she shouts out to the group, "That's right, you heard him. Lay down your weapons." She's trying to look really intimidating.
You can lower it down to a 2 then if you want to do that, Reese.
I would, but the first thing in my special abilities list is loner, and you gain no benefit when you get help with a task from another character.
Yep.
So...
You don't even hear Florence. You don't even hear her over this. But roll for me, please.
Yep.
Yeah, you have literally appeared out of nowhere, shot 3 of their people, and pointing as a gun, they just put their hands up, and they both fall to their knees and drop every weapon they have. Paula, you're currently scrabbling in the snow with this person. It's sort of like on top of each other as you're fighting. What are you doing? You can hear Tuva going, "Any minute now!" as she's like trying to get this open. You're muted.
Every time. Paula's like, "Oh, it did not go as planned," and she's like trying to push the leaves and the branches of this bush out of the way, trying to see. I want to try to mount this this woman
Okay.
with my knife.
With your knife. Roll a... It's more that she's strong, so a might check. Please.
Okay. What am I gonna spend something? Yeah, I'm gonna spend an advantage. I'm gonna put in 3 effort.
Describe
Oh, wow.
it. Describe it.
Well, I'm gonna roll the second
Roll
one. Just
again to
because I
see
can.
if you get an nat 20.
No, okay. But so let's see. So as Paula's like scrambling her way out of this bush, you know, she definitely wants to be the first one to kind of collect herself before this other lady. And I think that she sees that the other lady is still kind of like out of it, and she takes that opportunity to she like grabs a branch, slaps it in her face, and then rolls on top of her.
Absolutely.
And then holds the knife to her neck.
Yeah, as this happens, you strike her across the face, and you see this red streak where you hit her so hard with it, and you're on top of her, and you have this knife, and she just holds her hands up, and you're out of combat. As you all sit there, and you just hear "done," and as that moment, this roar comes out as this wolf comes crashing out into this group. It sort of snarls at all of them, but at first rushes towards Rika, who's like, put him down, as she lays Gideon on the floor, and this wolf stands over him. This wolf is huge. If anything, it's nowhere near as big as the ones you saw in the vision, Florence and Paula, but it's not that far off. As this wolf, breathing heavily, that snarl, you can see the drool coming between the teeth, the eyes are wild, the hair, the fur is all up on end as he stands over Gideon, who is breathing but not moving.
Reese drops the guns and slowly walks towards the wolf, arms down, palms out, slowly, purposefully stepping towards the wolf. It's okay, Balder. It's me.
And there's a moment where this huge wolf head snaps towards you, that snarl still there, the eyes, just that piercing yellow. And it's like that heavy breathing as it rises and falls, but you can see its eyes darting about you and the nose sniffing. And as it does, it stops. And it slowly calms. As much as you can tell, Balder. Balder is still on edge. But you see the haunches relax. And he looks to you. He doesn't move from Gideon. But he looks at you. Much softer. And you watch Astrid stride forward. Sort of almost walk past you and just knock muzzles with Balder. Like greeting an old friend.
I think Reese gets on his knees, even though it's going to put Balder above him with how big Balder is. And he's just like, we're going to help him.
And you can still hear that raspy sort of breath coming from these wolves' giant lungs.
And he's going to, after he says we're going to help him, he's going to slowly reach out to Balder till he can touch the chest and give it a rub.
And you just feel this huge wolf head almost bow just to press the top of its head and its ears to your chest. And it's a very, I guess, in a way, homely moment for for Balder. You feel him relax. And you remember Balder was a calm wolf, but is very quick to this. And Astrid sits beside the both of you as you greet an old friend.
It's good to see you.
And there's a little bit of a grumble. But these people don't move, and they stay lying on the ground. And Tuva walks over. This dragon now, it's on her shoulder, but it swamps her.
We should move him. Mum said it's not good to lie on your back when you're not feeling well. And she's a doctor.
That's good advice. And even though he's pretty sure what's gonna happen, he pats Balder again. We're gonna move him, okay? We're gonna make sure he gets better.
You notice Balder tense if anyone else moves towards Gideon. Doesn't seem so bothered about Tuva. It's more the dragon on her shoulder than anything else. But he steps back off of Gideon. And you see that friend of yours, but the face is so much older, so much more weathered. Hair long, tied back, as he rests in the snow. That blood sort of, as I said, sort of dried over his face. Huge purple and black bruises that you can see on his hands as well.
I think as Reese turns him over, he takes some of the snow and wipes off the blood as best he can. And there's just this very quiet, "What are you mixed up in, you old fool?"
And you just see him breathe heavily. Doesn't wake, but you sense that almost like a sigh for a moment. And whilst that happens, we got to draw from the deck of many. So we're going to go round and see what happens. So first of all, we are going to start with Polla. Polla, tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. You got the rogue. Then we're going to hop down to Talk School, or Averick. Tell me when, Averick.
Now.
The Void.
The Void. Oh, wow. Okay.
Why do I feel another story moment coming on? Reese.
Pull.
You got flames. Okay. Hang on, one more shuffle. Florence.
Now.
Ooh. The Ruin. Okay. Let's have a look. So, do you stay here? Or how do you move Gideon?
I mean, Reese is no doctor, but he probably thinks it's better to just stay here rather than trying to move him a bunch.
What do you do with the other people then?
Let's put them in the cage and lock it.
You can absolutely do that. You have a lock picker with you. So you can put them all in the cage. They're not happy about it, but they're also staying very, very quiet as you are there. And you can make Gideon comfortable.
I think Paula is very curious about the Valadrians that were...
You can see they're Valadrians. They're very much hired, but they're Valadrian.
And she probably kind of go up to the woman that she was in the bushes with.
Yes.
And she squinted at her, still pointing the knife through like the bars. So, what would a Valadrian be doing up here?
And she just looks at you.
Your friend said the seers were paying good money.
They are.
Are they what brought you here? Or were you already here?
Do you think I'd come here if someone didn't pay me?
That's a good point. I didn't know the seers had much influence in Valadris.
No, but money does. And she looks at you for a moment. Then looks away again.
You know, the seers are planning on releasing these giants.
I don't care what they're doing.
And you know, the giants are going to destroy everything.
Maybe.
You don't care if they destroy you in the process?
I know how to look after myself. The only other person I kind of wanted to look after was my brother, but your dragon saw to that.
And do you happen to know anything about airships mysteriously crashing and then people showing up in the north? Like how someone would get from an airship over the middle of the ocean to the far north?
No.
Is that like a common Valadrian, like when a ship goes down, it teleports the passengers somewhere safe, something like that?
I mean, it's not in the technology, if that's what you're asking, no. And I didn't come by airship. I came by a regular old ship.
That's not very Valadrian of you.
No, it's not. And this, as she sort of gestures as you're poking this knife through thing, isn't very, what did you say you were? A librarian?
Well, circumstances call for adaptability.
My point exactly.
All right. Well, you stay there in your cage. I'm gonna
She's
go check up on my friends now.
I'm not going anywhere. And where you are, you can see see the beginnings of a bridge. The bridge itself isn't here yet, but you can see a huge archway built as if it's showing the entrance to maybe something that was here before. And then probably in about a mile or so, the actual bridge starts. But for now, almost by this camp, you think maybe they chose it because it's here, because it provides more shelter. It's this huge, very square stone archway. And Gideon is stirring. He's not waking up, but he's stirring. Sorry, what was that you cut out?
Reese asks, medically inclined.
Tuva's kind of doing the standard that her mum taught her, but it is just like first aid in general. She's like patching him up, cleaning him up, like getting rid of the blood that is on his face.
He's gonna need to sleep. At least today. But the bridge isn't far.
Do you think it's safe to move him? We could make our way. Or do you think we should stay?
I think stay at least a few hours. And then move. But I also don't think we should stay here for long.
And she looks over towards the cage where these Valadrians are sort of glaring at you through the bars.
What do the rest of you think?
Well, we're not too far from the bridge. I saw from up on that building earlier that this campsite's not very far from the bridge, so I think it's not like Aggie and the others are gonna show up today. You know, it's gonna take them quite a while to get here, even by airship, so I think we have some time.
I should set a watch just to make sure no one sneaks up on us.
Yes,
Especially now that we know that the Seers are hiring mercs.
Right. A few hours to get him on the mend sounds good, but we do have Seers and mercs after us. I don't think we can wait a whole day.
Averick, is there any way you can whip together a sled or a...
I'm sure we can come up with something.
Something, yeah, like what you did for Tolan. Something to carry him or drag him with us.
Yeah, I mean, I could use my scavenger.
There's a lot of things around here. This was a camp, so you can see some pallets, like from they were used to sleep on. You've got the tent, so you've got some material. You definitely got rope.
Yeah, so we should be able to come up with something. Yep. Again, yeah, something here by using whatever transport they were using. If they've got sleds that they were using to carry any of their equipment, to somehow make it so it's more of a supportive type structure. Do we need one for both Gideon and the wolf?
No, the wolf seems to be fine. It's more that it's angry than anything
Got it.
else.
I
You
mean,
can sit and construct one of these.
I'll go keep watch. And Reese is going to try and convince Balder to go with him and leave Astrid with Gideon, because Balder is obviously still a full attention.
Roll me an intellect check to convince him.
Okay. I'm gonna spend some effort. Thank goodness we rested before doing all this. I think that's right. What difficulty am I shooting for?
You're looking at a 3 on this because this is an agitated wolf.
I think I'm just gonna spend the effort and see what the dice says.
Okay.
Natural 20.
How do you convince Boulder to go? Because Boulder is awkwardly looking backwards and forwards to you and looks very stubborn and not moving.
I think Reese gets on his knees again and he literally wraps his arms as far around as he can and hugs this huge wolf and just Astrid will protect him. You know she will. Come with me.
And you stay there just for a moment and you can feel almost relax. And Astrid sort of again nudges Balder almost as if it's the last thing to make him go. And Balder very hesitantly will look at each person and follow Reese as Astrid lays down next to Gideon. What does Florence? Oh, go on.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
I think Paula would take out the green stone kestrel and just put it in Gideon's hand for when he wakes up so that he knows that we found him.
As you take out that green stone kestrel, you look at it. And there's a moment that makes you pause and look towards the archway. And there's a small kestrel carved very crudely on the side of one of these parts of this archway. This is made up of many stones. It's so similar. It looks like it's carved by the same person.
Can I use archaeology to see if maybe I can glean some information from when this might have been built or what it might be for? Or...
Okay, yeah, no, roll for me. Just to see how much you know rather than
anything
else.
Yeah, just to see how much I can figure out. Just gonna do a normal roll.
Okay. The most you get from this is that this is old. From where you are at the angle, you could say probably it's similar age of the bridge. It's ancient. But the carving is not. The carving itself does not look that old at all in comparison to the actual archway.
Curious. I think Paul would just kind of sit with that for a little bit, thinking, oh my gosh, my dad might have been here.
And you look at this is like a built-up of lots of different blocks, so it's almost like a bit of a puzzle, or it's not solid stone like the rest of the bridges or anything else you've seen. And I will say that it's almost like there's this one block where the kestrel is carved that fits into another block and another block and another block.
I think maybe Paula would kind of wistfully just try to like touch it and see. I don't know, just to feel it and just to see if like she feels some kind of connection with it. And
Roll a straight up intellect for me.
do I want to use? Yeah, I'm gonna use a nat 20 on this one.
As you reach out and touch this stone, Florence, Reese, and Averick, you see something, and Paula, you see something very different. Florence, Reese, and Averick, you see this, what looks like, it's very calm right now, there's no breeze. But it looks like a breeze passes by Paula as it sort of moves her hair. And Paula, as you touch it, there's that second where you are back in the alleyway in Carnan. That evening you were chased. That night when that green kestrel erupted out of that pendant and threw itself into you. And you look at your hand as you blink again back at this archway, as green shimmers around the edge of your hand. And that carving moves. The wings spread. And the almost like the slab that it's carved on moves aside on its own. But you almost feel like you're pulling it without touching it. And in it, in this tiny little alcove, is a box. Very crudely carved. There's nothing really special, nothing ornate. But there's a box.
Whoa, was not expecting that. I think Paula just kind of carefully peeks inside to me and then reaches in. Like, can't believe this is happening. What the heck?
You reach in and you feel like this box has been here a long time. And you can see how weathered it is at the edges. It's almost like the seal has kept it. But you take this plain box out. And again, around the edges, as you hold it, a green sort of light runs around the edges. And you hear a lock just open.
I think Paula's heart is pounding pretty fast at this point. She's like, this is really unusual. This doesn't make sense. I'm scared to see what's in the box. And as she's thinking, I'm scared to see what's in the box, she's opening the box.
And the rest of you, Paula's got her back to you, but she's definitely reached in and taken something out. And Paula, as you lift that lid open, there are 3 things inside. There is paper that is folded in half. Looks very yellow. There is what looks like the other half of that kestrel pendant where it actually linked in. And a pair of gloves. At first, they look a bit like the seer's gloves, the ones that the Watchers had. But these are very brown leather. And they're decorated. There's a lot of pattern on this. They're very nice. But again, it's the only thing in here. And they look old.
I think, of course, Paula, the first thing that draws her eye is the paper. And she'd open that up.
You open up the paper, and on the inside is a note writing. Very sort of swirled sort of lettering. Wasn't written in a hurry. It's well done, sweetie. You got this far. Now come find me. And I think we'll leave it there this week. And we'll come back to see what the other bits do next week, because we have run over a tiny, tiny bit. So, fabulous. Please, everyone, check out all the links that are coming up in chat, and please go and see what all these lovely people that you can see around the table right now do. They do some wonderful things. So please go and check them out. Please check out the Discord. We have one just for this game, so we would love to hear what you think. What are your theories? What is going on? Yes, also, if you've missed out on anything, please head over to YouTube. You can catch up over there and check everything out that's going on, and all of our shows, not just this one. If you'd like to get into a game, go and drop Scrat a DM on Twitter, and we will sort that out for you. Also, a huge, huge thank you to our wonderful sponsors in the form of Magehand Press. You can see their Dark Matter and Fey Folio. Also, the Deck of Many, which played in today, which will be coming, if I can pick them up, which will be playing in next week. I'm thinking a story arc is going to happen with those. Also the wonderful Hero Forge, you can come and check out us playing around with their new color beta and the new stuff that comes out, I think, tomorrow. So it'll be on our Wednesday show at 2 p.m. EDT. And also Dungeon Fog for your map and note taking needs. If you update something on the map, it automatically updates it on the notes, and vice versa, so you can keep all your information coherent and together. Otherwise, keep evoking emotions, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
Okay, everyone, we are going to go on a raid as soon as the credits are finished. No, Shinobi will not be raiding Madame Gandalf, although I do recommend her channel. You should definitely go and check out Madame Gandalf's channel. She is amazing. That is not who we're going to be raiding today. We are going to be raiding Satine Phoenix's Gilding Light, as they have just started a new show today. Brand new show over on Gilding Light. So get ready to go and check that out. This is Hapa Barbarian's show. So I think we need to go and show them what Academy Love looks like. I want you all to be in there. We're going to start up that hype train. We're going to bring the hype like only the Academy knows how. Okay, we're making these raids famous for just lighting up people's days. So let's absolutely go and do that. Let's go and fill that chat with love. Get ready, everyone.